Big J Show on Hot 109. Joining us right now, Matt Walsh from the show Players on Spike TV, and probably, I hope you're not offended by this, Matt, but people will probably also know you as the doctor in The Hangover.
I'm not offended. That was a good movie.
Yeah, we had Rob Riggle on, and we talked about him being in The Hangover, and he's like, never mention that film. And it's so... No, I'm kidding. He was kidding too. He wasn't a jerk. But
he was screaming, though. He likes to scream.
Yeah, he does. He screams a lot. Sometimes you worry, though, if it's like your new show's Players, we want to talk about that, but then if we mention The Hangover, that you're like, don't think of me for that small bit role.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that with me. Good. I'm very happy. I was super happy to be in that movie.
Excellent. Yeah, how could you not be? I mean, it's like a classic already. People love it.
I know. America loved it. America voted, and they said yes to The Hangover.
Yes, it is a classic. Well, before we get to the real business here, let's talk donuts here for a second. So
I love it.
We're having an argument here. Do you know, what do you call the long donuts with, the maple frosting on the top?
Long Johns.
Yes! Yes! Matt, I don't know if you are 100 years old. We've determined that anybody that calls them Long Johns either is from the East Coast, is 100 years old, or is racist.
I'm from Chicago. I'm definitely a practicing racist whenever I can. That's what we called them. I don't know. Maybe I'm 45. Does that make me super old?
Yeah, that's about 100 in our
Okay.
We looked it up on Wikipedia, and it does say that, the maple bar is what we call them, those of us around here, and it says that is a Pacific Northwest term for the Long John.
Well, if we want to get technical, I never had them with maple frosting. In our neck of the woods, it was either the white frosting or the chocolate frosting, and it was either a vanilla. It was either a Long John would just be kind of a vanilla-y frosting or clear almost, and a chocolate frosting would be a chocolate Long John.
So maybe the maple bar is its whole own species outside of the Long John.
I mean, they had it, but it wasn't really common. It was just the black or white were your choices for the Long. But the Long John, to me, is the geometric shape.
I see. So any donut of that shape is considered a Long John.
I think that's the genus, if you will. And then the species that come out of that genus would be the maple bar, the chocolate Long John, and then the vanilla Long John.
I love your explanation of that. So now let's move on to something that's going to probably profit you more in the long run. Your TV show, Players on Spike. Tell people who haven't heard about this show what the show's all about.
It's about two brothers who own a sports bar, and owning a business with your family is never a good idea. And I play sort of a gambling addict, degenerate who likes to drink and have fun. And my brother, played by Ian Roberts, is a guy who probably spent too much time managing a Bennigan's. So he's very anal and uptight and cares about the wrong things. So
maybe owning a business with that family isn't a good idea. If your dad's like Donald Trump, maybe it's a better idea.
That's true. I think in my own experience, my father had a family business, and he could never fire cousins and things like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
There's too much emotional attachment. And also with your family, you fight a little fiercer. So, I mean, it absolutely can work. If you're a Rothschild, that's a good family.
Exactly. I've heard of that. I mean, I know what you're talking about, because we've had not families necessarily, but people that are in relationships working with us up here, and it's a normal argument between somebody that's on the air and somebody in the sales department is oh, I think this, you get it all worked out. And it's if they're dating, then it's people are getting thrown through walls and F words are flying and divorce. It's whoa, man, it's a whole different ballgame at that point.
It's the same thing too. You don't really make small talk with your family. If you're around someone's family, it's just you're assumed okay, we love each other. We don't really have to talk.
Exactly.
There's all those things that go on.
So who do you think's going to like this show? I'm guessing you're going to say everybody, but it's kind of is it a sports-themed show, or is it more about the relationships that are in the show? It's more about
it's based in the milieu of a sports bar and how that's a huge deal to any town. I think sports bars are kind of like churches. I think people, certainly guys, spend a lot of community time there bonding with their friends and their favorite teams.
Definitely.
But it's about the characters, and kind of like Restaurant as Family would be the simplest way I put it. It's people who care about each other but don't really know how to express it.
Very cool. Awesome.
And there's a lot of twisted, awful things that happen. We have a kind of a Slim Jim night called Mr. Meat. There's these meat sticks called Mr. Meat, and then it turns out they're laced with ephedra, and everybody's basically high on speed by the end of the episode. I book a movie to help pay the bills. I book a movie to shoot in the bar, and it turns out to be a porno.
That sounds like a normal day in the life of a sports bar to me, but
it's true. true. Yeah, the bar I go to in New York when I'm here, they had a porn movie shoot there. So it's and Horatio Sands is in that episode. He plays a porn director.
Oh, very cool. I love Horatio Sands. And speaking of him and comedy and stuff, you've been doing comedy from way back, right?
Since Harry Truman was president.
Perfect.
I would go over to the Pacific Theater and do USO shows with Bob Hope.
The good old days.
And Carmen Miranda.
And so, you're part of the Upright Citizens Brigade. You've done,
Yeah.
So you've been doing this for a while now. And is
yeah,
this...
I did. I've done a lot of comedy. I was on the Daily Show for a little bit. I've done a couple shows on Comedy Central, Dog Bites Man, and I've done a bunch of movies. So yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
Does this feel like you've made it now? I mean, you've got those roles in the movies. People know you're funny. You're kind of that guy, and now it's like you've got this whole show. Though, does it feel like this is like what I want to be doing? Like I got a regular job I come to every week. It feels good. Or how's that feel to you in your career arc?
It feels good. It's just a process. Like you're always doing other things you like to do, and this for me was awesome because we got to improvise. It's an improvised show. We come up with outlines and we improvise the dialogue. And when you produce or create a show, you get to hire the cast. You get to bring in, the funny people that you think are funny, like old friends or, Ken Jeong comes in.
Fat radio DJs from Montana.
When are you going to be in LA if we get a second season?
I will fly out just for the guy that I want to be the fat guy sitting at bar drinking behind scene. That'll be me. That's
so funny. Everybody says that. Can I just drink in the background?
It's the easiest thing because it's like it feels like you might actually say yes. It's like if I want a part, it's like you're never going to give a part to some guy, but it's like why not throw him in the background? So that's probably why everybody suggests that.
Absolutely, you're welcome to come out. I'll let you know if or keep an eye out for second season.
So now I have to be like an advocate for the show every time it's on because I need there to be a second season.
You have a vested interest in our show succeeding.
Definitely. Players premieres tonight on Spike TV at 8:30 here at Billy's. Hey, Matt Walsh, anything else coming up after Players? Any other movies coming up?
There's a movie that just comes out on iTunes today called Wild Girls Gone that the Upright Citizens Brigade made, so check that out.
Very cool.
It's like a fake Girls Gone Wild type thing. And then I'm in a movie called Cyrus, and I have a podcast for the Chicago Bears called Bear Down Podcast.
Excellent.
So I got a lot of little things going on.
Lots going on. Well, we'll definitely check out Players on Spike tonight. Matt Walsh, hey, thanks so much for being on the show, and we'll see you in season 2.
Thanks for having me.
See you, man. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, buddy. I love you. I like to end interviews with bye-bye and sound like I'm trying to hit on this guy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, doctor from The Hangover. Bye-bye.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.